All right, let's talk about something that affects pretty much everything, from that dream vacation you're planning to the price of the phone in your hand. We're diving into exchange rates, and we'll kick things off with something we can all get excited about: traveling the world.
So, have you ever found yourself daydreaming about a trip? Maybe Paris, Tokyo, or Rio? Well, the biggest question isn't just if you can get there, it's what you can do once you're on the ground. How many croissants, souvenirs, or train tickets can your money actually buy? And the answer to all of that, it comes down to the exchange rate.
To get our heads around this, we need to start with a really simple but powerful idea. Money itself has a price. Yeah, you heard that right. When you travel to another country, you are literally buying their currency with your own.
And that's exactly what an exchange rate is. It's the official price of one currency in terms of another. It tells you exactly how much foreign cash you're going to get for your hard-earned money.
This is the best way to think about it. It really is just a price tag for money. Say you're in Paris and you want to buy something priced in euros. Well, first you have to buy the euros themselves, and you're using your dollars to do it. The exchange rate is just the price you pay.
But here's where things get really interesting. That price tag, it's not set in stone, not even close. It's changing all the time. So what does it actually mean when we hear that a currency is getting stronger or weaker?
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff. When your currency appreciates, it gets stronger. It's like it's been hitting the gym. This means every single one of your dollars can suddenly buy more of a foreign currency than it could before. Your spending power abroad just got a serious upgrade.
For instance, imagine yesterday, $1 could get you 85 euro cents. But today, the dollar appreciates, and now that same dollar buys you 90 euro cents. If you're an American planning a trip to Europe, that is fantastic news. Your whole vacation just got cheaper. And of course, on the flip side of that coin, we have depreciation. This is when a currency weakens. And as you can probably guess, it means each unit of your money now buys less of the foreign currency. So let's just flip that last example. If your dollar goes from buying 85 euro cents down to only 80, it has depreciated. And suddenly, that European adventure just got a little bit more expensive. Now, these little shifts aren't just numbers on a screen, they have huge real-world consequences. When your currency gets stronger, when it appreciates, your international travel gets cheaper, and so do all the things you import. But it makes the stuff your country sells to the rest of the world more expensive. And depreciation, it does the exact opposite. Travel gets pricier for you, but your country's exports suddenly become a great deal for everyone else. It's this constant global balancing act.
So this all brings up a massive question, right? Who's in charge here? Who actually decides what a currency is worth? Well, generally speaking, countries take one of two main approaches to this.
First up is what's called a fixed system. This is where a country basically anchors its currency to another, more stable one, like the US dollar. They peg its value. And then the government acts like a market referee, constantly buying and selling currency to make sure that value stays locked in place.
And you see this in the real world. A great example is the Saudi rial or the Hong Kong dollar. They are both pegged to the US dollar. Why? To create stability for international trade and finance, because so much of global business is done in dollars.
The other option is a floating system. And here, there is no anchor, there's no peg. The currency's value is decided purely by the chaos of the open market. Good old supply and demand. Kind of like a stock price. It can go up and down freely every single day.
And this is the system that most of the world's major economies use. We're talking about the US dollar, the euro. Their value is a direct reflection of things like the country's economic health, interest rates, and even political stability.
So, which one is better? Well, it's a classic trade-off. Fixed rates give you that comforting anchor of stability, which is fantastic for businesses trying to plan ahead, but it means giving up a lot of control. Floating rates give you the freedom and flexibility to respond to economic changes, but that freedom comes with the risk of wild, unpredictable swings.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get practical. How do you actually figure this stuff out when you're standing in an airport money exchange? Well, the math is surprisingly simple. Don't worry. Okay, for our example, let's just use a simple exchange rate. One US dollar is worth 85 euro cents. Easy enough.
All right, you've got $100, and you want to turn them into euros. To convert your money into a foreign currency, you just multiply. So you take your $100, multiply by our rate of 0.85, and bam, you've got 85 euros.
And what about converting back? Say you've got 50 euros left at the end of your trip. Well, you just do the opposite. You divide. Take those 50 euros, divide by that same 0.85 exchange rate, and that gets you back about $58.82. It's really that straightforward. Multiply to go to the foreign currency, divide to come back.
Okay, so we've covered what exchange rates are, why they're always changing, and even how to do the math. Let's just wrap all this up with the key things you really need to remember.
So, what are the big takeaways here? First, always know which way you're converting. Are you buying or selling the foreign currency? Second, label everything so you don't get confused. But bigger picture, just remember that an exchange rate is simply a price tag for money, and that price is always, always moving. And that choice between a fixed and a floating system, it's a huge trade-off between stability and control for an entire country.
And all of this leaves us with one last really crucial question to chew on. Now that you get the trade-off, what do you think is better for our interconnected global economy? Is it the predictable, stable anchor of a fixed system, or is it the dynamic, flexible freedom of a floating one? The answer? Well, it's not so simple, is it?